In this video, I want to share the 7 books that have helped me sign 800 clients. Listen, if you want to grow, whether you're at 10K, whether you're at 30K, whether you're just starting out, you need to commit to learning. You have to figure out what you don't know. Chances are what you don't know exists somewhere in a book. Yes, it's in mentors, yes, it's in courses, but books have always been my foundation. And from when I was 18 to 22 years old, I read a book a week. Not an exaggeration, I was a book junkie. I thought that my life would change just by reading. And of course, it doesn't just change by reading, it changes by applying what you've learned. But even to this day, I'll go through seasons and phases where I might not read for a few months, and then I binge and I go deep. My point is, the books I'm going to share here today have profoundly impacted my life and my business and my ability to sign these hundreds of clients, not just because they were interesting or a great read, but because I actually took what they said and I applied it at a deep level. So here are the 7 books that have helped me the most in growing from 0 to 7.5 million in sales, signing 800 clients. Book number 1, an amazing read called PsychoCybernetics. One of the things you need to understand is that as you grow your business will be a reflection of the person that you are. And the person that you are is not the static thing. You might be different from one day to the next. The thing that changes who you are and how you show up in the world and how you live as an entrepreneur is actually how you see yourself. And this book, PsychoCybernetics, goes into the science of self-image. It's a super fascinating book written by a plastic surgeon turned psychologist who talked about the fact that sometimes people would come into a surgery, they would come in for the same procedures, they would have the same result, and one person felt like they looked beautiful and incredible, and it changed their level of confidence, and other people walked out the exact same way that they walked in. They looked different, but they didn't see themselves differently. And I just think PsychoCybernetics and this whole idea of really working on the way that you see yourself is foundational as an entrepreneur. If you are trying to sell something expensive, but you don't believe that you're worthy of high ticket prices, if you don't believe that you can deliver the goods, right? Your self-image will actually affect the way that you market, sell, and deliver. And so the biggest thing that you could do is work on developing your sense of confidence. And this confidence is not just like shouting affirmations to yourself in the mirror. It's actually a proven scientific process to re-engineer and reevaluate your self-image so that you're focused on not just the person that you are, but on the person that you're becoming. And that's why this book is number 1 on my list, because it's been the most transformational for me. Number 2 is a book called 4-Hour Workweek. Now, whether you love this book, whether you hate this book, whether you've read it or not, chances are you've heard of it. It's incredibly popular. I remember reading this when I was 21 years old, and it was a game changer. I remember thinking I was going to start a side hustle. In the book, he's talking about selling what he calls a muse, right? Like a product, a physical, a digital product. And obviously that's not what I ended up doing. I didn't create an iPad case like I thought I originally would. But in the book, there are so many good ideas, but there was one that was above all else for me that stood out called Pareto's Principle. He talks about how everything in life is 80-20. Typically, we get 80% out of money from 20% of clients, which has been true for me. There is the 20% of things that we do that produce the 80% of results. And that was the whole point behind 4-Hour Workweek, is he ended up engineering a business where he made unbelievable money, but from doing very few hours, because he understood the big hinges that swung the big doors, right? The big needle movers. And it's really influenced the way that I've thought about business. Oftentimes you can do so many different things to get clients, to grow your business, but it's actually focusing on the few things that are bringing the biggest results and just simply doing more of that. Oftentimes we're spreading ourselves too thin rather than taking our finite energy and time and focusing it into a few key areas. So if you haven't read it or you haven't read it in a while, I highly recommend picking up a copy and opening it up. It will absolutely impact where you're at, no matter what stage of business you find yourself in. That's number 2. Number 3 is a marketing masterpiece called Building a Story Brand by a guy called Donald Miller. Amazing book. I'm not going to tell you the whole idea of it, but the biggest thing I got out of it was that every story has a hero. And if you are marketing, you are creating a story, right? That's the whole idea, is you're building a story brand. And one of the mistakes that many of us make is we assume that great marketing makes us the center of the story, makes us the hero. And what he talks about is, if you think about Star Wars or Lord of the Rings, there's always one hero, and then there is a mentor or a guide that is supporting that hero. Frodo has Gandalf. Luke Skywalker has Yoda. I was going to say Darth Vader for a second, right? But they have the hero and the mentor. And the point of your marketing should be positioning yourself not as the hero, your prospect is the hero. Really, you need to be the guide. And you need to be the guide who helps the hero overcome the challenges and achieve their dream life with the least amount of resistance as possible, right? Gandalf wants to help Frodo get to Mordor with the ring in the easiest way possible. Yes, it's going to be hard. Yes, it's going to be challenging, but with Gandalf's help, Frodo should be able to do it easier than if Frodo was on his own. And that's the power of a great brand, and the power of great marketing is being able to position yourself as the mentor or the guide that's helping the hero get to the dream outcome with the least amount of resistance, the least amount of failure possible. So if you want to get clients, be the guide, don't be the hero. Okay, that's number 3. Number 4, building on the topic of marketing, is an amazing book called Breakthrough Advertising. Now, as far as I understand, this book is out of print, or at least it was when I bought it. So I had to buy a physical copy that was hundreds of dollars, but if you just search breakthroughadvertising.pdf online, you'll be able to find it. So many good ideas in this book. The biggest one that I got out of it was called Market Sophistication and Levels of Awareness. So if you just follow me for a second in this example, I think this kind of land for you. You imagine back in the day, people didn't know how to lose weight, right? And so when someone came out with the claim that they could help you lose weight, all they would have to say is, I can help you lose weight, and people would be interested. Why? Because it's a new idea into that market. It's this new and exciting opportunity that they otherwise didn't have. Let's say a few people then entered that market and they all said, I can help you lose weight. So what that person would have to do for the level of market sophistication, level of awareness, is people are getting the same message from many different people. They would then have to amplify the claim. Right? So it's no longer, I will help you lose weight. It's like, I'll help you lose 10 pounds or 10 kilos in 90 days, right? Amplifying the claim. And you might have seen this in your market, right? It goes from like, I help you get clients, or I help you lose weight, to I help you do something specific in a specific time frame. The next layer is adding in a unique mechanism, right? So it's not just I help you lose 10 pounds in 90 days. It's I help you lose 10 pounds in 90 days with the Keto Body Diet. Shout out Gregor Gallagher, right? Now you're trying to stand out in the midst of lots of people that sound the same with a more sophisticated marketing message. Depending on who you're marketing to and how crowded your market is, in other words, how many other people are saying the same thing as you, determines the level of sophistication you have to bring to your marketing. Sophistication doesn't just mean making up fancy words. It doesn't just mean being so creative that people don't understand what you're saying but are intrigued. It's about doubling down on really what works in terms of getting your prospect the dream outcome that they want from where they are to where they want to get to, and adding complexity, or at least adding sophistication to your messaging based on where the market is at. Now, some of this might have gone over some of your head, but what I'm trying to say is this is an amazing book that will teach you how to copyright and market at an advanced level. It's not as simple as dancing on Reels or posting on TikTok or writing captions on Facebook or doing podcasts. It's about understanding where your market is at and responding appropriately. And that's why Breakthrough Advertising is number 4 on my 7 books that have helped me sign 800 clients. Number 5, and many of you have been waiting for this, $100 million offers. Now, the reason it's number 5 is because it came out 3 years into my business journey, but it's no doubt helped me make millions, and no doubt it's helped many of you in your businesses. Here is what I love about that book. The secret to sales is making offers so good, people would feel stupid to say no. Now, what I love about this is the simplicity around creating an offer that has so much good stuff without the bad stuff that people go, this is a no-brainer for me. What I really got out of this book was the simplicity of boiling it down to problems and solutions, right? Firstly, it's identifying people's dream outcome. Where are they trying to go? What are they trying to achieve? Who are they trying to become? And then it's identifying all of the problems they're going to experience from where they are to where they want to get to. And then you add solutions into your offer. So all of the perceived problems and expected problems people are thinking about when it comes to the transformation that they have, you bring solutions into your offer for it. So let me give you a really simple example of this. In 2021, I read this book. I was on the mission to create an offer so good, people would feel stupid to say no. We then created all of these different things within our offer that allowed us to get a client a day for over 60 days. So our business doubled in just a matter of months. And it came down to some simple things. We were working with coaches, specifically business coaches who were looking to grow, get more sales calls, add consistent revenue, all that kind of stuff. So a couple of key things that we did is one of the things that our clients really struggled with was creating offers themselves. And so rather than just giving them a module or sending them a worksheet, we then created an offer workshop where they could literally come on with the coach and we would build out the offer together. The next piece was a lot of the people we were working with were overwhelmed. So we literally hired, trained a virtual assistant for them to come into their business so that they could free up some of their time, get some of their brain, energy, time, capacity back. So that was another way that we solved this problem in a way that had high value perception. Another thing was people struggled to book all the calls themselves. Either they had no calls coming in, or they had calls coming in, but they were spending all day in the DMs to do it. So what we did is we then hired trained appointment setters for our clients. All of these changes plus more led to way more sales because we solved the problems that people were facing. And this is the basic premise of the book. We took this to another step where I used it to retain clients. So in the same way, the key to sales is to make an offer so good, people would feel stupid to say no. The key to retention is to make an offer so good, people would feel stupid to leave. So I took this same level of thinking and this same mindset and principles, and I applied it to retention, and it worked phenomenally well. Highly recommend not just to read this book, but to study this book and implement it at a deep level. Number 6 is The 5 Levels of Leadership by John Maxwell. If you are trying to scale a business, you will have to work with people. And I'm not just talking about clients and you as the coach, I'm talking about hiring people. Whether you're just starting out and you get a virtual assistant, whether you have a setter, a closer, a coach, a marketer, whatever it might be, you need to get good at managing people. And the 5 levels of leadership boil down to these 5 levels, and it's position, permission, production, people development, and pinnacle. So let me break these down really quickly. Firstly, it's not about the level you are as a leader. It's about each person is at a different level with you. So for example, in position, people are only following you because they have to. This is typically what happens with most hires. Most of you can probably think of bosses that you worked with that you only followed because you had to, right? That's position. Permission is now people follow you because they like you. So you can probably think back to times that you've worked with people. You didn't just listen to them because if you didn't, you would get fired. You've listened to them and followed them because you really liked who they are. Production is about becoming known for the results that you create, right? You are now a momentum machine, and people are following you because they want to be in your jet stream. They want to actually be a part of what you're doing. Number 4, people development. People follow you now because of what you've done personally for them in their life. Now, what's interesting in our space is now we have people building such big personal brands, and we've got great people that become impacted by those person's content, and then they end up being hired by that person. And this employee feels so indebted to the boss because of what they've personally done for them. And pinnacle is the ultimate. Pinnacle is about becoming known for an idea. It's about having a brand that's bigger than a business, and people want to work with you simply because of who you are. The point is, you are on a level with each person in your world. If you hire a team member, they may start out following you and listening to you because of the position that you're in. Eventually, you want them to move into permission. They follow you because they want to, and so on and so forth. But this book helped me understand not only the importance of leadership, that everything rises and falls on leadership, but that your leadership is not static. You can become a better leader by consciously moving through each one of the levels, and that is number 6. Number 7, and this might surprise some of you, is the Bible. Now, here's what I'm going to say about this. I'm not saying you have to read the Bible. If you were going to read the Bible and you're wondering where to start, I would start in the book of Proverbs. If you read the book of Proverbs and read a chapter a day every day, you may have a business thought that you would have never otherwise had. But here is why I brought up the Bible, regardless of whether you end up reading the Bible or not. I think everyone needs a book that refines and reminds them of their values and their vision for their life. So whether you like reading Stoicism, whether you read the Quran, whether you read the Bhagavad Gita, whether you just read a business book that helps refine your vision and values for your life, we need something that helps us stay on course, that helps us stay aligned as a human being. And whether you read lots of books in a certain topic or whether you have one book that you come back to time and time again, the Bible for me has been something that's been integral in my life ever since I was 13 years old. And I consistently read that book, not only to learn the teachings of Jesus, to learn more about God and the universe and principles and things like that, it reminds me of who I am. My quote from my mentor says, Jesus didn't come to make us a Christian. He came to show us what it meant to be fully human. And when I read the Bible through the right lens, and when I say the right lens, I used to read it in the wrong lens, which was I was just trying to memorize a bunch of stuff. Now when I read it, it reminds me of who I want to become. So whether you read this book or any others, Have a book in your life that is not about business. It's not just about goals. It's not just about to-do lists and productivity and getting stuff done. It's reminding you who you are. And so regardless of the season you're in, the stage that you're in, I highly encourage you to, number one, figure out the bottleneck of the season you're in. What is the pain point? What is the problem? What are you trying to solve? And then number two, remind yourself, you are not the first person to face this. You're not the first person to try and solve this. The answer you're seeking is in education. It's in a book somewhere. And so these are just 7 books out of the hundreds that I've read that have helped me get into $7.5 million in online sales and get over 800 clients. And I would encourage you to, if you're looking for a book, pick up one of these books that feel like it resonates with you the most. And I highly recommend getting that, learning it, implementing it at a deep level, and watching how your life and your business changes because of it. So I'm hoping this video has been helpful. If you haven't already, like the video, subscribe, and I'll catch you in another video soon.